Hey folks, Jonathan here. Alright, hadn't done a video in a few days, and just been really busy and trying to social distance myself, I guess you can say. There's our CAT scan. And so what's happening is in my county alone we've got, I think, 11 people that's got it, and one has passed away. So with me having emphysema, I don't think it's a good idea for me to get it. So I have been doing my best to keep away. And I know a lot of the younger people don't seem to care much. Okay, this is finished. Maybe not the prettiest thing. Really don't matter though, because you'll never see it. But you know, it's there. It's strong. It's done. Now, for anybody that's still wondering why I wanted to do it that way instead of just building a plate and or welding the stuff on or whatever, but you'll see when I set our new transmission up into our bell housing when it gets on the engine, which is going to be just in a little while. But I've got some other stuff I got to do. I did pick up the other transmission. I'll show you it. Oh, also I got my new rings for my headlights, and got them through SoCal Speed Shop in California. Took about a week longer than they said, but I did get them. Okay, here's our new 5-speed transmission. This is out from a, I think it's a 2.8 V6 Chevrolet. They ran these from, I think, around 84, 85 up to 92 before they went to the Ford pattern up here. And then I think by 96 they were integrated all together. So anyway, one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and get another one, because when I put the T5 in the 31 5-window behind that 6-cylinder, I shortened this shaft up. And I really need this shaft to be as long as possible for what we're doing now. And that's why I didn't make the plate. And like I said, you'll see that here shortly. So this is our transmission. I don't know what we're going to have to fabricate and change on it. I know we're definitely going to have to leave that, but we may have to shorten this sleeve. The new throwout bearing will be here today. I decided to go with the Cadillac pressure plate and a new clutch and the Cadillac throwout bearing. This stuff's readily available, so it will be no problem to find it if I need it. But we've still got to make a sleeve to go inside here to fit that, and we'll just make it the size of this bearing. So that's what we've got to do, is make a sleeve, and we'll make it go on the inside of this, and we'll use the measurement off this, which that's awful loose. Yeah, I don't think we'll use that. That might be for something different, I don't know. I got more. Okay, so I've actually got the one that come off of this transmission. Let's grab it real quick. Do they know you're a one-eyed cat? We'll go by this size. Now, one of the reasons I didn't want to go change the pressure plate to the diaphragm style and use this smaller bearing, or use a smaller bearing, is because it would have changed my fork, the way the fork mounts. As you can see, it don't fit in there. Then I would have had to change the fork. Well, this ball is a lot smaller than what the Chevrolet ball is, so it would have just created other problems. So I figured this would be the easy way to do it. As you can see, they hook up different. I got the spring clips that go on here that hold that to it. So, and like I said, we'll do a sleeve to where it'll be the same as the idea of this. And it'll press inside there, and then we'll press our new bearing on also, which should be here today. Okay, clutch. Okay, here's the diaphragm. Okay, here is our Cadillac, which is just the non-diaphragm regular, and there's the clutch that came with it. As you can see, there's about a 1/4 inch around it. It's 10.5 inch. So here's our new one. It's just the same, except it fits our splines. So now this is actually an expensive clutch. This is about $83. They actually sell these for Flathead Fords to put T5s behind them. So that's what they're normally for. But, you know, I needed it, so I got it. And then we're going to work on that stuff, but I've got another issue I got to deal with first. Okay, I pulled the oil pan. Wanted to clean everything up, but I ran into some issues. I've got a repair, as you can see, drain plug, but we've got holes. And I think that's it, just right around here. And we're going to have to get them taken care of, and I can't be welding close to that brace. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to cut out the entire piece and make a new piece and weld a bung in it with probably a different style drain plug, because this one I don't think was doing the best job anyway. I guess it was working, but anyway, we're going to put a new drain plug on it. And just like I said, go back all the way to where there's no rust whatsoever, and just replace the entire piece. So that's what I'm waiting on now. I need to get that done and finish cleaning up everything and get the pan sealed back and bolted on, because I've actually got the engine on an engine stand. So you can see where I pressure washed it now that I didn't paint it. But so we've got it on the stand. And I was checking out carburetors. We're going to figure out what we're going to do on that, whether we're going to use it or not. I don't know. One thing I thought about that I think I went against, I thought about using this crossover pipe out this side and then buying another one. There's some on eBay coming out the other side and then coming down, but they just stick out so far. So, don't know. We'll figure out what we're going to do, but you know, I can use regular pipe, whatever, mandrel bent. So I've got it on the engine stand, so until I get the oil pan and stuff on, we're not going to mess with the clutch, but we're going to do that. We're going to get this finished up today and get the oil pan back on, and then at least try to start getting our stuff together. Now once I get this bell housing on, you know, I've got to put the bell housing on before I put the clutch pressure plate or even the flywheel on. And we'll get the bell housing on, then we're going to slide transmission up in, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. My distance, my issue that I've run into that I'm going to have to work on back here on the crankshaft. So, all right, well, let's get at it. Yeah, I think we got totally away from it. Just one big spot right there. Like I said, I can't be welding around the braze, and I don't want to braze it. I'd rather just do away with the bad part. So we'll fix it. Okay folks, the oil pan is on, got finished up, and we're getting ready to put the bell housing on so we can bolt transmission up and start looking, see what our measurements are. I use that GM sealer. I need to cut some of it loose here, but I didn't use the gasket at all. I used the GM stuff, the new stuff. Here's what it is. AC Delco RTV engine sealant. This is what they use at the dealerships. Works really well. I like it. Okay, bell housing's on. I had the transmission up there, slid up to it, and getting ready to put the bolts in until I realized I hadn't drilled the bell housing or the transmission yet. These are metric size holes, and you have to drill them out with 1/2 inch. And I had forgot that. And that wasn't a good time to learn it when I was holding it with one arm trying to bolt it with another. So here we go. So we'll do it one-handed here. Look how close it is. And just water it out a little bit. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Alright, here we go. We have got the transmission officially bolted on. And bolts on really well. I like it. And this, I'm ready to show you, is the reason that I didn't put a plate back here. And I didn't even want to put an 1/8 inch plate back here. I just didn't want to put a plate back here. I'm going to try to keep this thing as far forward as I could. Now I almost wish maybe I would have machined some off. But that's okay. But I'm going to show you what we got going on here. Get up here where you can see. Okay, as you can see, here's our shaft. And it's centered up, but you can see how far it's still out of the crankshaft. So my plan is to make a steel bushing that goes in that allows me to press a GM pilot bushing in it and bring it out. You know, this is you know, extra long really, so I'm going to be fine with it. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and get an original that had never been cut. So we'll figure this out first, and then we'll put the flywheel on and we'll put it back together, and then we'll be able to see how far our clutch goes. I'm sure we're going to have to shorten this up, which we've had to do before, and so we have enough spline, and then we'll start getting everything else where we need it, and it'll work out just fine. I don't see any issues with, you know, besides little stuff like that we can take care of. So but that was my reasoning for trying to keep the transmission close. I didn't want it any farther away than I had to have it. And you know, we're hoping that time the flywheel's on, I guess I need to do some measuring and make sure that we're going to have that, you know, the clutch is going to be on the splines far enough. And you know, that's going to be another worry. So I'll check that out and see, and we'll know a whole lot more when I start doing a little measuring. And you know, absolute worst comes to worst, you know, I can do some changing on it. If I need to mill some off the back of this, you know, I probably couldn't go over maybe an 1/8 inch, but I mean, that may be what it takes. But as long as we can get that clutch on them splines far enough that I feel safe, that's our only issue. So all right, let's see what we got and we'll go from there. Okay, before we go any farther, I think we'll do a measurement here and see. Here's our flywheel, which definitely needs cleaned up. What I want to do is get a measurement from the edge of this, where it bolts on the crankshaft, to the surface of this, and that should give us an idea, because the clutch is pretty much flat. So that's where the spline will start. We'll be able to tell real quick how far we're going to be on that, and I'll get a measurement of how wide the splines are on the clutch itself also, which they're not real wide, probably about 3/4 of an inch. So. All right, let me see what I can figure out here. Okay, we're looking at about 1.5 inches, maybe actually 1 3/8 inches from the surface back. Let's see how that looks. Okay, from the surface, how well this gonna work out here. From the surface back, we are 1 inch and what, about 3/8? Yeah, that's gonna be just right. Just right. We couldn't have asked for any better. So that's perfect. So we're gonna be on there. We might still shorten it up just a little bit. That's going to work out. Alright, so hopefully in the next video we'll have this transmission finished up, mounted, and we'll start working on some other stuff on it, and we'll go ahead and try to get the 5 window around here and get that 6-cylinder out of it, and the transmission. And like I said, we're going to go back with this one. We'll go back with the other shifter. I just stuck this shifter in it to keep it from getting wet when I pressure washed it. But the transmission seems to be in, really good shape. I don't think there's any issues there. Speedometers. Now you can buy a, like a 4-inch speedometer for the dash that is GPS, and they're not expensive at all. So I think that's what we're going to go with, and we won't have to worry about none of that. And it just makes things easy. So it's all working out. Actually a little better than I thought. With that splines, it was what had me worried. So we're good there. So I just need to get a pilot bushing for a Chevrolet, or see if I've got one in here, and go ahead and get that lined up in the back of that crank. And then we'll go ahead and I was waiting on the bearing, the throwout bearing. It didn't come today. It was delayed for some reason through the U.S. mail, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully it'll get here so we can get that hooked up. So, and we'll just keep at it. Okay, for anybody that don't know what vehicle I'm talking about when I'm talking about the 5-window coupe, it's this one. And it's sitting under the shed here, but it's got pollen all over it like everything else. But we'll do some reinforcing on this front, because this is a suicide front and I'm not suicidal. And I think we're going to clear our steering box. If we don't, we're going to do some changes. We're probably going to put a new box on it of a different style. Let me see. Of course, we're going with rubber engine mounts. I don't want it mounted solid. I don't like that. This exhaust, of course, will be gone. A radiator will be gone. Get something decent on it. I may run a 32 grill. I don't know. We'll run something. Headlights are going. I'm going to use the 36 Plymouth lights, the long teardrops, the original old lights. We'll go ahead and do some more welding and fabricating on the body and all before we throw some red primer on it, and maybe nicen it up a little bit. You can see I've got no windows in it or nothing, so the pollen gets inside. I'm going to go ahead and finish the dash up, and probably take this gauge cluster out and just put that round one I was talking about with the for the GPS. But besides that, I mean, it's a good driving car. It's too stiff in the back. I've got to do something about the rear suspension. Absolutely, for sure. The front's not bad. Just bounces you hard from behind. It's helped out with the seat I put in it, but I still need to do something about the suspension. It's got coil springs and a leaf, and it needs to be, something needs to be taken out. It needs to be changed. And like I said, this car, most people, I want my doors open for, but most people remember this. This was, I had the body was upside down and the quarters was folded in on it. I mean, this thing was probably, in most cases, beyond fixing, or beyond anything anybody would want to mess with. I guess I'm foolish and don't scare easy enough. That's the problem. But anyway, 6-cylinder's good. There's no problem with it. It's a 230, and I've got the same Borg-Warner T5 behind it, which is what we're going to change. Let me see. The exhaust is blown out on the manifold and started leaking on me, and well, it looks like it's dropped down some, probably from the weight of these mufflers. It's welded into the frame, but still, I just don't like the way it's set up. So anyway, it's going to go either way, but we'll save the engine, we'll save the transmission. There's always other projects, other stuff that we can put it in. I like them. There's nothing wrong with an old Chevrolet 6-cylinder. They're tougher than nails. So anyway, so that's where we're at. That's what we're going to put this into, and hopefully it'll clear without having to cut any of the firewall. I'm not going to change the mounts on for the transmission and stuff, so if it don't clear, we'll just work the firewall, whatever we got to do. It's not a big issue. So, all right. Appreciate everybody watching, and until next time, bye.